Okay, here we are again. Take two. We're trying this one more time. I have gone live again, hoping that Deepma will be able to join this time. Today is again an interesting topic and interesting conversation. A lot of parents have reached out to us. So thank you so much for your questions. We love those questions. Keep them coming. Your comments are very welcome. Your presence is very welcome. Uh, the series is called Imperfect Parenting, and this is to show to all the parents that we don't have to be perfect. And today's question is a very interesting one. While we all know that reading is very, very important, the $1,000,000 question is how do we convince our children to read more, and how do we get them to make the time or the interest even to read more? So that's what we're going to be talking about. I'm just waiting again for Deepma to join. Deepma, have you logged in? Are you there? Because I haven't received a request. Let me see. Not able to get the request yet. It worked really well last time, but this time it doesn't seem to be working. Okay, trying to reach out. Still waiting for Deepma to join. She's not able to sign in. I don't know why. No idea. She's sending a request, she's saying, but she's not able to sign. See, I don't even see her as... Yeah, but nothing is happening. I'm supposed to get there's a blue or a green line that comes here. Where when I click on that, she's able to join, but it's not happening. No. See? It's not happening this time. She said I've sent the request, but I don't see any request. Sometimes this happens.
Okay.
So what I do is I switch this off and I switch it on again.
Just if you don't do it, then just can you?
There's nothing I can do.
If you switch this off.
No, that is, you have to allow them to send request.
Okay.
Can you send me an invite? How do I send an invite? I don't know. I have no idea. There is no way to send an invite. You have to just... I don't know what's going on. Pallavi, are you able to sign in and send me send an invite? Pallavi, can you try? Can you send a request? Because I am not seeing the request yet. So sorry guys, some technical issue. And today's topic is so interesting, which is how do we make our kids read and have fun while reading. I'm hoping that Deepma is going to be able to sign in soon. I really don't know what's going on. I even switched it off and did it again.
Can you just continue with your thing?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, while we are waiting, I thought we can start talking a little bit, and then maybe once Deepma joins in, we can continue the conversation about our series, The Imperfect Parenting. I remember when I was probably maybe between the ages of 10 to 14, and we had summer holidays, and we used to go to these circulating libraries because we never owned any books. We just didn't own any books, and we had to go to these circulating libraries and pick out and rent books that were mostly torn. There were sellotapes all over it, and all the friends in the building and in the school would get together. We would meet at the circulating library, and we would pick up books from there, and that's how we learned how to read. And it was such an exciting part of our life. And a lot of parents say, why do our kids not read? She has finally sent me the request. Yes, I got it. That's from Deepma. I think some technical thing. Okay, she's here. There you are.
I had to. Yeah, I went and got some help from my technical person and somehow managed. So your join, I'm coming.
I was just talking about our topic today, which is so interesting, and I wanted to just thank the parents one more time for sending us so many questions. This question also is a very common one. A lot of parents have asked us this question, which is how do we get our kids to read, and how do they enjoy reading, and how can we make this a fun thing for them? So that's the conversation today. And Deepa, you are able to hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you, and that was just. I think we got about 10 or 12 questions, and 6 or 7 were on reading. So our job was very easy that we picked this as our next live topic.
Yeah, so I was just talking on to the viewers that when I was very small, and I think you probably did that too. We were talking about it earlier, where going to a circulating library and picking out these rentals and then bringing those books home was our thing. And I think we were not surrounded by the social media, by the distraction that
Yes,
we think that our kids are going through. So
yeah,
our opportunities were more about climbing trees and walls and renting out bikes and renting out books. So books were an integral part of our growing up.
yeah.
But if you
I
think
think
about the way, if you
no.
think
Go ahead.
about the way the world is heading today, our kids are in a very competitive position where they are no longer just a local citizen. They are now a global citizen, which means
Yeah,
that they are, like India is very well known for its software engineers. And one of the reasons why we are on the map today is because of the ability of all our engineers doing a lot of programming and hardware and all that abroad. But now slowly other countries like China, then Europe, Israel have become part of this bandwagon, and we are sort of losing that advantage that we had as engineers who were able to communicate very effectively. So I
yeah.
think what is important is that our students and our children today become strong communicators to be competitive in the global market, as they are going to be global citizens. And one of the pillars of communication is reading, don't you think?
Absolutely. I mean, I want to go back to that first point that you made in your introduction that really struck me, because that's such a memory that we have of our childhoods, right? Where we went to the libraries the last day of the exam, we went to the library and immediately signed up for our library pass. And I think what happened was that was our social connect, right? We
Yes.
exchanged books with each other, so we didn't have to pay extra library fees. We kind of talked about what we had read, talked about which part of the book we were at, and that was our connection with our friends. And so the ones that didn't read would automatically start reading because of FOMO, right? Because of the fear of missing out. And so they
Yes,
say, oh,
yes.
I have to read too. So that was our social uh, angle to it. And now with a lot of the online teaching being online, all of our classes are online. With the pandemic, a lot of it has gone online. With gadgets and technology, we've gone online so much more, and our children are so much more comfortable with that. So now how do we take that reality, accept it without demonizing it, and bring reading into it as well? And so I think that is something that we need to kind of discuss and think about.
So what you're saying, Deepma, is that I think first, as parents, we have to stop saying that oh, our kids are so distracted. There's so much technology. I think we got to stop saying that, because that was not our reality when we were growing up. So I don't think we can blame our children for it.
Yeah,
Their reality is very different from ours. So I think that's the first step in understanding where our kids are coming from, and then working with that environment for our children. So I think earlier on we were talking about something called passive versus active reading, right? You and I were discussing that earlier. You want to talk a
yeah.
little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. You know what happens now with technology, and I think that's what parents are very stressed out about, is that when you're watching TV, when you're watching a YouTube video, it's very passive. So yeah, you're sure, you're learning stuff, you're imbibing stuff, you're listening to whatever it is that the teacher or the instructor or the YouTube person is saying to you, and some of it is going inside. But remember we had that discussion with one of our classes in one of our classes where we
Yeah,
asked the
we had
kids.
done a survey. Yeah, we had done
Yeah,
a survey where we asked our students, why is it that why do you guys prefer not to read? And it was so interesting because I remember one student very emphatically said, Auntie, if I can watch a Harry Potter movie, why would I read those thick 400-page books? I mean, it's
yeah,
so amazing to watch it. It is so convenient and it is so entertaining, and it also activates so much of my imagination. So why would I read a book versus watch a movie? So yeah, that's what we had done.
I
Yeah.
completely agreed with her that yes, it's very exciting. I love the Harry Potter series, movies. I love a lot of the movies that books that have been converted into movies, and love how they've done it. One of the things is that why would what she meant was why would I read a book for a Harry Potter book probably takes a week or two to finish when I can see the story or hear the story or be part of the
Exactly.
an hour and a half, which is the movie.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between passive and active. When you're watching the movie for an hour and a half, all of the work is done for you. The characters are all fleshed out for you. You know how Dumbledore looks. You know how who is it? Snape looks. How Harry Potter looks. And Ron Weasley looks. You don't have to think about it. When you're reading the book, every part of your brain is engaged
Is
because you're
activated. Yeah.
creating images for all
Yes.
of these pictures in your head, and you're doing it for yourself instead of having someone else do it. So obviously that makes it harder to read a book, but that also makes it so much more fulfilling, one. And two, obviously, when it's exciting different parts of your brain, you are becoming, you are growing. And so that's
Yes.
the active part of reading a book.
So I mean we all know, right? This clear science. There's clear evidence. There's clear research that reading is leaders are readers. All leaders are readers. We've talked about it, and also that reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. Now we know that logic. We already know that logic. But the question that most parents want to know and they are asking is that how do we ensure that our kids can read given the environment that they are in, and how do we make it fun? So what thoughts do you have about that?
See, some of one of the questions, this brings me to the one question that someone sent us. I can't remember. I think it was, I can't remember the name of the parent. I'm sorry. But who said, what books should my child be reading? That was one question. And another question was, when his sister was 10 years old, she had finished the whole Harry Potter series. And this boy, my boy is now 11 or 12 years old, and he refuses to read anything but comics. What is happening here? We're talking about resistance, right? Why are we
Yes.
getting that resistance from our children? Is because we are so stuck in what should my kid be doing at this particular age, what are the milestones, and we start getting worried about that, and then we start pressurizing. I wanted to give an example. I just thought of it. When we are younger and we do things a particular way, like organizing our closet or making a particular dish, we do it in a particular way, and then we get married and we go to another family and they do the same thing in a different way, right? And when they try to get us to change, what do we feel? We feel a little bit of resentment, right? Why is my
Yes.
way
Yes.
wrong? Why is your way right? Correct? And
Correct.
I think that's what the parent and child situation is happening, where just because you say I should read a Harry Potter book by this age and you're pushing me to read it, now I'm not going to read, I'm off reading, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the
Correct.
resistance. Pointing if we just kind of made it more like, what do you want to read? What do you like? What do you enjoy?
Yeah.
Hey, let's go ahead, go online on one of those lovely gadgets that we have and check out, the genre that you enjoy. Why don't we check out what books are available there, and let's go ahead and pick out a book for you. And then you were talking a little earlier, right, about the three techniques that we could use in
Yeah. So
reading fun and reading more acceptable rather than making reading this resentment and this resistant activity.
So yeah, so the three strategies or the three key points that parents should keep in mind, and this is what we really need to pay attention to. So there are three factors that will ensure that our children will start reading a little bit more. The first one is give it a space. The second one is give it time, and the third one is give it energy. I'm going to talk about the first one because that's something I did very regularly with my children, which is give it some space. What does that mean? I remember when my kids were growing up, and when they had something was happening and they didn't want to share it, I decided to create what I called the cozy corner. So the cozy corner was a space that we created, which was maybe between two closets or behind a closet or some place where we put a bunch of pillows and made it very comfortable and cozy, where there would be absolutely no judgment, and kids could come in and talk to me about anything they want, and there was going to be no consequence or judgment, and they could say whatever they wanted. Eventually, the cozy corner, as they started growing up, became their reading corner. And I realized that it is so important to first mark out a space which is a comfortable space for our children to say, okay, this is where I sit and read. So the first one, give it a space, is what the
Yeah.
cozy corner was all about.
I remember you telling me about it, and then we created one in our own house, and that was the house, that was the space that was allowed to be untidy. So the kids could leave their books, upside down to
Exactly.
my. They could leave 2, 3 books lying around, and I wouldn't stress about it. And so that became a space that was comfortable for them. So yeah, I love that. The second tip that we wanted to share was the tip of time, right?
Yes.
Let's about a particular time of day, just in order, one, obviously, to make it to make sure that you do it every single day. The second is to make it fun, and kids from a very young age love the consistency. So if you say, hey, you know what, let's just take out 10 or 15 minutes max every single day from 6:15 to 6:30, and let's sit down. Let's go ahead and put an alarm for it here, and let's sit down in our cozy corner, the space that we have designated, and let's just read. That that also gave way. Then with our students, we started calling that the Dear Challenge, right? When we start,
Yeah.
we an entire class of kids do it and make notes of how many pages they were reading every day. The Dear Challenge standing for drop everything and
Everything
read.
and read.
And so I
Correct.
remember it becoming a very exciting
So,
activity for us.
as far as the time thing is concerned, I just wanted to add, one of the things that I took away, which is the pressure, right? So we say, okay, we got to read every day, but I decided to take away the pressure of reading every day by saying, okay, supposing we decide 6 o'clock in the evening, all of us will sit down and read, but let's just read for 10 minutes. So we'll
Exactly.
set an alarm and we read only for 10 minutes. Invariably, what would happen is we would never read just for 10 minutes. We would always read for 20, 30, or maybe 40 minutes, because when a book sucks you in, you are
Yeah.
not able to put it down, right?
Yeah.
And then we started exchanging ideas. Oh, which book are you reading? Which book are you reading? Then they started. So it's like an energy that sort of started getting passed around, where kids
Yeah.
started exchanging titles with their friends, and we started exchanging with our friends. And the idea of setting a time is really, when you have an intention and you want to carry it out, you need to assign a time to it, and
Yeah.
start with a low pressure mode. 10 minutes. There is no child who can argue against that I cannot
Yeah.
even spare 10 minutes in reading. So that actually helped a lot. So setting a time is absolutely a great tip for any
I know.
parent who's trying to make their child read.
Absolutely. And I remember one instance where we read for the 10 minutes, and then I had to go and put the cooker or something like that for dinner. And I remember my older one saying, hey, go put the cooker and come back. We're waiting here for you. And, we can continue reading. And I was just so amazed and so happy, because it became a fun time for her where she wanted to prolong it instead of
And
cutting it
I
short.
think, I think, see, the fact is, we talked about this earlier also, where technology and these gadgets, social media is getting us all so distracted that even when our kids come to us with a conversation or even with a problem, we are kind of looking at our phone and saying, "Huh, what?" And we are
Yeah,
very distracted. So I
very
think
true.
keeping your phone away, setting an alarm, and sitting together as a family and reading is such a beautiful experience for every single family, and we've got to bring that back. Even though
Yeah.
I never grew up reading with my parents because we were constantly reading, this is something that I think parents of today may have to take that extra step. And it's a great thing for everybody to read anyway. You can reconnect to your own interest and your old passion of reading and bring it to the table, and the kids will also enjoy that. So I think that's a very important tip, that give it some time. Give it time,
Yeah.
right? What's the third
Okay.
and the fun one? Because I know that's the one that the kids probably will enjoy.
Exactly. That's what we said, all of these things are going to be hard in the first couple of months, right? You're doing the space, and there might be a few eye rolling, there might be a little bit of no, I don't want to do it, whatever. There might be, even when you do the time, the second thing they may say, oh, 10 minutes is too long, 15 minutes is too long, I can't do it, it's too boring, whatever. how about if you're getting this resistance, gamify it, bring energy into it. And how can
Okay.
we gamify it? Yeah, how can we gamify it and make it a really fun activity? So one of the things that I used to do was I'd set these really small rewards, right? So if we once we finish, whoever finishes the book then gets to pick a TV show to watch, or to go get ice cream or go get pizza on the weekend, or whatever, something fun. Pick something fun that they can do as a reward for either finishing a book, or if it's a younger child finishing a chapter, just pick the reward according to the ability of the child. But they get so excited about it. The second one you actually suggested was competition, right?
Yeah, so we did two very fun things to make this is a more like a gamify activity, where the first one was we used to say, okay, you don't have to just read books, right? It's not necessary that reading doesn't mean that you have to only read books. You can just read anything. You could read maybe ads on a billboard, or you could read some kind of an article in the newspaper, or you could read maybe some kind of a post from Instagram or some TED talk or whatever it is. So in my
Correct.
family, we used to play this game where we would read captions or headlines of an advertisement, and we would say, okay, can you guess which product this is, and how convincing, how could they have convinced us that this is the product? So that sort of led to a conversation and a discussion. So that was one way we would do it. The second thing that we did is we would all decide that we'll take one challenging word from the book that we were reading, and like a crazy family, we would keep repeating that word all the time. What that did is that we learned new words, and we had so much fun because we tried to jabardasti apply it in some situation that it didn't apply to. So
Yeah.
that was kind of a fun way to kind of encourage the idea of reading. So I think that's what we did in our house. Yeah.
One other thing that we did was, those days, you have those days, right, where one or the other child or both children are kind of playing off of each other and saying, no, not today. Today I have too much homework, or today I'm too tired, or today I do, and they want to kind of break that consistency that maybe you built for a week or two. What we did at that point was we took out either, like, some conversations, open-ended questions from our conversation cards that we have,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
we read aloud to each other. So we said, hey, pick a book, and what's the funny thing that you read in that you want us to know about? And they'd, go ahead and read. And I remember when my younger one was very young, he'd always bring this same Dr. Seuss book for times like that, where it was, what was that? There's a Walk It in My Pocket. And he loved that book, and he'd just read it out and he'd have us in splits. And so that was something that kind of got us over those tough obstacles of kids saying, I don't want to.
In fact, I think, Deepma, one of the things that we do, just to kind of talk about our company also, we create a lot of products in our company, and we are very passionate about what we do. And one of the products that we created was this book, My Life My Way. One of the ways that I and my family use this book is to record all the books that we have read. So, for
Yeah.
example, in this book, we have a section called books to read or shows to watch. So in this section, we would actually write down for that particular month what are the books that we have read. The other thing that we used to do is we created a the habit tracker. So we have a habit tracker in the book which allows us to write down what books we are going to read, and how many pages we have finished. So we became a very integral that became very integral to the dear challenge, which is drop everything and read challenge, so that we could record it. So this book was actually very, very useful in our family to do that, and I would actually encourage all of you to get this book if you haven't already. So
Yeah.
I think the way to do it is to kind of give it not so the three tips that you talked about earlier, which are so important, which is give it a space, give it a time, and give it energy. These three things are extremely critical in this process,
And I
right?
love that you use the My Life My Way that way. I use it to track my glasses of water and my number of steps a day. But this is so interesting that we can use it to even track the number of pages that we read every
Absolutely, absolutely. I think everything that we create in our company is about that, so that we can empower our children, so that they can look back and say, oh, in the month of April, I finished these 3 books, or in the month of June, I finished these 4 books. And that
day.
sort of builds, that energy builds in the child. And, as we know, that the more that you read, the more things that you will know, and the more you learn, the more places you go. That's your favorite
Yay!
Dr. Seuss, right?
Dr. Seuss. Pallavi, I love that. Oh, hi Rekha, hi Kavita. I love Pallavi's suggestion. Read a shampoo bottle. I so agree. You know,
Actually,
remember
that's
we
a great idea. Read a shampoo bottle and bring it to the dinner table and talk about it.
yeah,
Right?
okay, who can pronounce all those chemicals on there? Who can pronounce them? Yes.
In fact,
Right?
I remember when we were.
Rupa, and
Yes.
she was talking about books. Rupa Pai, the children's author, she has said, "Hey, don't force your children to read this or read that or do this or do that. Whatever they want to read the back of a cereal box, let them read a back of a
Let them
cereal.
read. Correct.
Let them read a comic book. Let them pick what they want to read, so that they don't consider reading a chore. They consider reading fun. And I think that was so fab. It stayed with me all these years.
That's very true. So, guys, remember the 3 tips. Give it a space. So, create your own cozy corner. Give it time. Assign a time in the day for the family to come together and read, or for your children to read. And third, give it an energy. Make it fun, gamified. You can use your imagination and creativity. And let's not force our children to read a book just because somebody else is reading it. So, this is again a very important conversation in our series, Imperfect Parenting. Please go
Yes.
ahead and send us more questions so that we can come up with yet another topic next week. Thanks, Deepa, for being here today. And thanks,
Just
guys, for being on our show again today.
I just wanted to close by saying, as imperfect, because you said imperfect parenting, as imperfect parents, we have to pick our battles. We can't pick all
Yes,
of them.
very true.
We pick a few. Let reading be one of the battles that you pick, so that your children have that to look forward to and have that habit for the rest of their lives. It's going to stay with them always. So we
And
will
that's
put
why
up.
we have this book to help you with retaining those habits. So get this book today if you can. It's on our website, theconfidentcommunicator.in. We are also on Amazon, so check it out.
Yeah, lovely. And we'll put a video up on our post when on reading.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna put 2 videos actually. One video is a free video for you to sign up and get, which is how to ace every exam. But if you want to kind of go back to this conversation, we have a beautiful video on reading. Take a look at that. It will be on our Facebook page. Thanks again, and we'll see you next Wednesday, same time, 5 o'clock. Thank you.
Same time, same place. Bye.
Bye.